Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Canadian Football Central, CFL content for the fans, by the fans. And we have our week, I think it's 18, right? Review.
Yes, sir.
Coming right up. We had 3 games this week, a bit of a shorter week, but some big ramifications coming out of this. With probably the biggest revelation being that the crossover is confirmed. This year, a team from the West will be crossing over into the East. Now, again, it's not known which team that will be. There are 2 teams who have clinched the playoffs out in the West, with Saskatchewan and BC. And in the East so far, Hamilton and Montreal have both clinched as well. And so 2 playoff spots still up for grabs. And currently, it will be the Stampeders, the Bombers, and the Elks fighting for those 2 spots. One of them, though, is the odd man out, as both the Argos and the Red Blacks, as of this week, are formally eliminated from playoff contention.
Just think of it. So going into the first game, Riders needed to win, BC needed to lose for them to get a home playoff spot. One of those happened, the other one did not. going into this weekend, or coming out of this weekend, I should say. This first game, I'm telling you right now, I don't care who I tell it to, Saskatchewan should not have won this game. And I said this in the preview. I said, watch Saskatchewan freaking lose to Ottawa. And the only way that Saskatchewan won is because Brooks Jr. got the pick 6 and they got the 2-point convert.
Yeah.
Other than that, they would have lost 13-12 to the worst team in the league.
So the Saskatchewan Roughriders defeat the Ottawa Red Blacks by a score of 20-13. Game was in Ottawa. And this was not Calgary, sorry. This was a pretty bad game by Saskatchewan. I mean, Trevor Harris plays well, 27 for 33, 341 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. AJ Olette has an average of 2.3. That's not good. Dante Myers has a very good game receiving-wise, 6 receptions for 6 targets, 158 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. And then just kind of a lot of in the murky middle for the rest of the receiving core. And then 2 really key interceptions by the defense. One by a friend of the channel, AJ Allen, and one by Jameer Thurman. And sorry, I forgot to mention Brooks Jr., who, of course, would get the pick 6. Mike Rose gets the lone sack. But, I mean, we're with the way that this Red Blacks team just folded over, the fact that the difference in this game was only 7 points is quite incredible. As Drew Brown plays 11, it goes 11 for 20, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I think this is probably one of the worst starts we've ever seen from Drew Brown. This is not good. This is not what Drew Brown is capable of. He's capable of much better than this. And this is not acceptable if you're the Ottawa Red Blacks. And Dustin Crum throws 1 touchdown pass, goes 12 for 16. He plays decent. Again, Dustin Crum has looked relatively good this year. It's kind of surprising to me that they haven't given him a chance to be the starter, like even when Brown is healthy. And I say this as someone who's a fan of Drew Brown. But like Ottawa doesn't play a good game here. They don't. And the fact that Saskatchewan nearly blows this game is just crazy. But then on the other hand, the thing as well, so everyone who wondered the idea of, well, Brett Lothar hasn't been doing very good. Let's give someone else a chance. Well, the Riders tried that this week as Lothar is out week to week. And man, that was bad. Campbell Fair Cabelver's he's yikes. That's not what you're looking for. Now, to be fair, this kid's a rookie. He's 25 years old. And I'm not saying that maybe someday I'm not saying he won't ever turn into something. He missed 2 converts in this game. Again, converts are the closest you're going to get to a gimme. As far as kicks, for kickers, and he went 0%, 0% on them, and that is not to CFL standard, and that is not to standard of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, are a team that are looking at potentially Grey Cup this year. I think there is serious concern here in Saskatchewan. Not saying that this team is bad, it's not, but it's like when it comes to playoffs, when it comes to push, like, when push
comes to shove.
When push comes to shove, yes, that's right. When push comes to shove, and the game's on the line, and you need your kicker to make that kick, because no matter how much better you think you are than other teams, playoff games are close. They just are.
Yes.
Even in the years where Winnipeg dominated the league, where they owned the league, when it came to Grey Cup, was it a blowout? Nope. And that was one way or the other. Whether the Bombers had won that Grey Cup or whether they had lost that Grey Cup. Except for maybe the last one, but even then they didn't dominate the season. That year, quite the way that they had in others.
You're talking about like the last. You're talking about like the last.
I'm talking within the last 5 years. But the point is that you can dominate in the regular season, and good for you. That earns you a spot in the playoffs. But then you got to do something in the playoffs. You can even ask Toronto about it. Going on this crazy run and then just getting blown out by the Alouettes 2 years ago. Then the Alouettes did the same thing. And they got blown out by the Argos. They've done it. It's happened twice in the East. We haven't really seen it in the West because the Bombers have been the only team that have come out of the West in the last half a decade. And so Saskatchewan's got to be... I'm not going to lie. I think Saskatchewan had a very big missed opportunity at this year's trade deadline and not going after Lyram Haralahu. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they tried and Toronto wasn't budging. Fair enough, But I don't see any indicators of it. I haven't heard anything leak about that. The CFL is a league that has a hard time keeping that stuff under wraps. So,
you know what it's funny because I was just going through the numbers. Okay, I know Harris puts up, 300 yards and everything. I'm talking about touchdown to interception ratio. Harris has not had a big game where he's had a ton, like more than one touchdown. What week is this? We are going back to week 11. So in 7 weeks, he has not thrown for more than one touchdown.
Wow. And that's the thing, because Trevor Harris has been consistently good. But just good. Not great. Not fantastic. Just good. And I don't know if that cuts it.
So they're 3-3 in their last 6 games when he has not thrown for multiple touchdowns.
Yeah.
And in this league, you need to throw multiple touchdowns if you want to win in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you're Saskatchewan and you got the receiving core that you do, when you got guys like Dante Myers, Keyshawn Johnson, Kean Schaefer-Baker, a Joe, Samuel Emilus, all that talent, and you're throwing 1 touchdown a game. That's it. Need to see more of that. Again, his completion percentage is very good this game. His passing yards are good, but probably want to see a little more.
Here's my thought on Ottawa. So, Red Black fans have been seeing this all season. This is the Tommy Condell offense.
Yeah.
This is why Tommy Condell's offense does not work in this league anymore. It's the same crap every year. He doesn't change his schemes or his playbooks. He goes through the screen passes. You know, when was the last time you seen Ottawa with Tommy Condell as their offensive coordinator in the top 3 with 30-plus yard completions? You don't see it there. Plus, with Sean Burke, their GM, giving Bob Dice that vote of confidence during their bye week, not only do I see them changing their coaching staff in the offseason, but now you have to look at the GM as well, because if they don't fire Bob Dice, they're going to lose a lot of fans in the offseason.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of concerns.
He's already said he won't fire Bob Dice. So the only way that you can get rid of Bob Dice is let going of the GM.
Yeah,
because in their last 4 seasons, I looked this up last night. They're 4-14, 4-14, 9-8, and now they're 4-11. That's 3 out of 4 seasons that are losing seasons with Sean Burke as their GM.
Yeah.
Is that it for...
Shall we get to the next one? There's been a lot there, but me and you both go 3-0 this week on predictions, as we made the same predictions. And I imagine that this is a game that you're going to be excited to talk about, as the Hamilton Tiger Cats defeated the Toronto Argonauts by a score of 47-29.
I've been saying this for the last week. After your Bombers beat us 43-3 last week, this is the gun-blazing game where we do not screw around. We come out guns and blazing out of the gate.
Yeah.
And what's the first thing Bo does? Bo throws a 42-yard bullet to Keandre Smith to start the game. Ticats led 17-3 after the first.
They're up 29. They're up 29-9 at half.
They're at 32-9.
Actually, 32-9. Yeah, sorry, I completely.
And not only this was probably the best, I want to say, outside of the, what was it, 62-1 a few years ago. This is probably the best 3-phase game that I've seen. Keep in mind,
like, whoa, 3. What do you mean by 3-phase game?
3-phase game.
Define
offense,
that. So
offense,
that was okay.
Offense.
And you're talking for the Ticats specifically, not league wide.
Yes. No.
Okay.
I'm saying, since that 62-9 or whatever the frig it was, 14, I think it was like 2019.
Okay, so hold on, but just to be clear, you're talking about, this is for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, not period.
Yes.
Okay, because I was about to say, if we were talking about that, I would be like, Rick, last week the Bombers won 40-3 and scored a special teams touchdown. Yeah. But no, it makes sense.
Like, overall, this is the best game I've seen Ticats play
in a while.
Whereas their offense, we threw
No, fair enough.
4 interceptions. Our defense had 9 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and a safety.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, so Bo went 18 for 25, 320 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception,
Yep.
12.8 average. Bell had 76 yards on 12 carries, 1 touchdown, 6.3, not bad. If you, I would like to know who had Brandon or Larry Orange 2 for 2, 111 yards and 2 touchdowns on their bingo card, because I can tell you no one did.
Yeah.
And now Toronto fans know what Rough Rider fans went through when Kenny Lawler was a bomber and he would light them up. Lawler has 7 touchdowns.
I'm not sure if Argo fans quite know what the Riders have went through. Is the Riders have 4 Grey Cups in about 90 years, so I
no. What I'm saying,
I know. I'm just rubbing it in for fun, Rick. I know what you mean. I'm being a shithead.
Because Kenny Lawler has 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
In 3 games. Then if you go over to the defense side, Katratonis has 3 interceptions. Philip Osai, who comes out of nowhere this year, has 4 defensive tackles, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a tackle for loss. Julian Hauser, who pretty much had a down year last year in Calgary, comes to Hamilton, had 4 defensive tackles, 4 sacks, and a fumble recovery. Casey Sales had 3 defensive tackles and a sack. Jonathan Moxley had an interception. Jose Ramirez, who we just signed this week and he had a sack. Mark Legio went 3 for 4. If we go over to the Toronto side, Nick Arbuckle got injured on the very first play. So his arm was in a sling at the end of after that play, so he's probably done for the season. Jared Daggy.
And this was who? Sorry, was in a sling.
Nick Arbuckle after the first play, he was in a sling. Jared Daggy. He went 30. Doge Daggy, however you want to pronounce it. He went 34 for 49, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They mostly got, I want to say, outside of the 2 touchdowns, they basically got all their points from kicking, from field goals. Yeah. That's pretty much it. We're only sacked twice, which is, I'm actually quite shocked. Julian Grant could not get anything started. So here's the thing. So Milt Stegall is on some Montreal Alouettes bandwagon where no matter what you tell him, if you told him the sky was green, he would argue with you and say the sky's blue. Like he's on this power trip of like Montreal winning the East. And then Hinek Mwamba, who is a former Bomber, was telling him, like, dude, did you not watch tonight's game? Like, it's not just Montreal in the East.
Yeah.
If Hamilton plays like this the rest of the season, they're going to dominate the East. Because we play Calgary next week.
Well, I will say, though, that what Milt Segal's saying isn't coming from nowhere. Because I guess what he is saying here is like if you look at the Alouettes and you look at the way that they've played when fully healthy, they are a bloody well scary team in the East. And I'm not saying that they are more or less scary than the Ticats. I think that the difference between a healthy Ticats and a healthy Alouettes is close. We just have a bigger sample size with Hamilton because Montreal has dealt with more injury problems. Again, assuming both teams are fully healthy.
But I mean, before Davis Alexander came back last game, they lost 5 in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
Before Davis Alexander came, well, they were starting a fourth string. Like, again, but here's the thing: is I understand that it's like, yeah, they were just missing Davis Alexander, but you can't say Davis Alexander wasn't a key factor or the key factor. He's 9-0 in CFL starts. He has the longest streak. For a rookie quarterback, he has the longest undefeated streak in CFL history. That is like, again, I'm not trying to make the argument that Alouettes Ticats. I'm not making that argument. The argument that I'm making though is that Argos Ticats in the same realm, and then we'll just need to see come playoffs. Although I will say what this game does say for the Ticats though. Firstly, this is the game that Hamilton needed. Not necessarily because they were under a risk of falling out of a playoff spot or losing the East final. Nothing like that. But when you get blown out the way that they did against Winnipeg, Hamilton got destroyed against Winnipeg. Like Hamilton, it's not like they weren't able to move the ball or do anything. But for every one step forward, they took 3 steps back. For as much as they would move down the field, they got shut out in the red zone. And it was a problem. And it was a bad game. It was probably the worst game Hamilton's played all year. And it was probably the best game Winnipeg's played all year. And the recipe was just that the Ticats were not going to have a good night. If you're the Ticats and you have a game like that, do you sit there and be like, oh my God, I don't know if we're a good football team anymore? You're like, no, we got to fucking move on. We you know what? Go to bed, get some sleep, wake up the next morning, and on to the next one. And that's what the Ticats did. Credit to them. As if you just dwell on that shit, then you're going to start playing like shit. And they played great in this game.
It's funny because I was listening to the pregame today, and Mike Daly brought up the point of after last week's game, you don't even watch the game film. That's a bowling game. As in, you don't watch the game film. You go out with the guys and have a bowling night and move on.
Yeah.
Ready for the last game of the night?
So, Rick, for our last one, we have the BC Lions defeating the Calgary Stampeders by a score of 38-24.
I just want to mention one thing before you go into it. So, at the beginning of the video, I said, okay, in order for Saskatchewan to get the division, Saskatchewan needed a win, but then they also needed BC to lose. They got the win, but BC did not lose. So now they have to wait till next week to try to get the win. Yeah. But anyways, go ahead.
Go ahead in what regard? I said the score.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about it.
Well, I mean, I am because the Lions are very. I'm looking for it right now, but the Lions are very much on the hype train of Nathan Rourke, and I can't exactly blame them. As well as Matthew Betts. Matthew Betts with 1 tackle for tonight, and it was a sack. Credit to him. But Nathan Rourke is looking excellent, seriously, and he is having his off game. But even the best quarterbacks have their off games. The best and this is where I worry about a guy like Trevor Harris, is that Trevor Harris has good games and then off games. Nathan Rourke has his off games, but he has great games. He has games where he dominates, and he throws 2 picks tonight. However, he throws 4 touchdowns, 414 passing yards, goes 25 for 32.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So, if he throws for 414 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and this is a bad game, what the F do you classify as a great
I didn't
game
say
or
this was a
good game?
bad game. I did not say this was a
Oh, I
bad
thought
game.
you said that Nathan Rourke had a bad game.
No, what I'm
Okay.
saying is that Nathan Rourke will have his bad games.
Oh, okay.
Trevor Harris will have his bad games. The difference between Trevor Harris and Nathan Rourke is that when they're not having bad games, Trevor Harris is having a good game and Nathan Rourke is having an awesome game. And this is where Nathan Rourke, this is where the Lions, they got a little bold choosing Nathan Rourke. They signed him to this big deal. They bring him in and it looks like he's not fulfilling what they expected. And then he delivers. And it took him a bit of time. They needed a playbook that was directly tailored to him because the one from last year was tailored for Vernon Adams. And he came in partway through the season. He had not been there in training camp, nothing like that. And so now that he's back in full form, this is the Nathan Rourke that you want for the Lions. And this is kind of your guy. This is your franchise. This is the guy that you're building your team around. And he's putting up numbers like this. Nathan Rourke is in a very, very serious conversation for the MOC this year. And as of right now, I think probably the two front runners for the MOC have got to be Nathan Rourke and Nick Dembski. As Nick Dembski is only like 30 yards away from breaking a career high at 31 years old, and he's looking damn good doing it on a Bomber team that had been stripped of a lot of its receiving talent. He had still been putting up very good numbers, and it was the specific catches he was making that was truly impressive with those corner out catches. But then Nathan Rourke is putting up crazy numbers for a Canadian quarterback, and so it's
Bro, I
he
have
wants
a question.
it. Yeah.
I just want to make sure I got this correct. I don't know if you know or not. If you don't know, that's fine. Because I'm not sure. CFL Awards, is that only for the season? That's not for playoffs. It's only for the season, correct?
Season.
Season?
Yep.
So,
no, it is for the regular season.
The MOP...
Because remember, they in the Grey Cup game, they give out a most outstanding Canadian and most outstanding player for the Grey Cup game.
Okay.
Which is separate.
I'm saying that the next two games will determine who wins MOP. And I'm saying it's going to come down to Nathan Rourke for the West. It's going to come down to Bo Levi Mitchell for the East. Everyone can say, oh, well, Nathan Rourke's played well in the last few games for him to win. But at the same time, Bo's, except for...
Bo might have MOP because the only reason Bo didn't have MOP last year was because
we didn't make the playoffs.
Well, there's two reasons. Number one, for all the success he had, he failed to get his team into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two is he was going against a running back that was on a generational performance. He was going like Bo Levi Mitchell had very good numbers that year. He had damn good numbers that year. Better than some quarterbacks that have won MOP. Mm-hmm. Brady Oliveira's numbers last year was another animal. That is not something that you see from a running back often. Like if we look at Brady Oliveira's numbers, I know we're getting a little off topic, but I'll be like, like last year, he had just 3 touchdowns. In the 17 games he had played, 1,353 rushing yards. But then the key factor here, and this is what set him apart from a lot of other people, is then he almost had almost 500 yards receiving on top of that, as he had 487 there. Or no, not 487, 476, sorry. And so he was such a dual threat. And he had really helped his team get where they needed to be in the playoffs and hosting the West Final. He was a big part of that. But kind of getting back to this game, Calgary looks like a team that's run out of gas. They really have. I mean, earlier in the season, the Calgary Stampeders looked like they could have taken on anyone. Seriously, Vernon Adams looked like he could have gotten into a fist fight with God and won. And now I don't see that. Now Vernon Adams, 21 for 38, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Like this is not a untalented quarterback. This is a guy that just last year, before he had gotten injured and then sidelined for them to play Nathan Rourke instead, was in serious conversation for MOP. I would argue he was in conversation for MOP even this year when Calgary was on their hot streak. But ever since that died down, Vernon Adams has died down with it. And with that, the Stampeders have gotten a bit sloppier defensively. And this is something where, like, Calgary had a decent lead at second in the West. It was Saskatchewan, Calgary, and then it was a bit of drop before you got to BC, before you got to Winnipeg. Well, it was Winnipeg then BC, because BC was even lower. But Calgary has that lead has evaporated, and Calgary's now fallen to third place. They're thankfully for the Stampeders, they have the tiebreaker. Well, I'm not sure if it's thankfully, because I don't know if you want to play through the West to the East. If you're Calgary, I have no idea. But they have the tiebreaker with Winnipeg. The question is Calgary going to win another game this year? Are they going to get their shit together? Because they play the Ticats next week, so they're going to have that figured out. And Winnipeg's playing Edmonton. As much as Edmonton's been playing decent, I'm not going to pretend that the Edmonton Elks are the same level of competition as the Ticats are, especially after what the Ticats just did this week.
So the thing is, Winnipeg has Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and Montreal.
Now here's the question though.
Calgary has Hamilton, Toronto, and Edmonton.
Here's the thing to note though. If Saskatchewan beats Toronto, does Saskatchewan clinch the West Final? I think they do, right? With a win over Toronto this week. Think about it. If they
upcoming week.
Yeah, if in week 19, if Saskatchewan defeats if Saskatchewan defeats Toronto this week and they go to 12-4, that then means that they have because BC couldn't catch exactly. So at that point, when Saskatchewan then plays Winnipeg, how many starters are playing? Like, I think that game, I think if Saskatchewan beats Toronto this week, that game that they play against Saskatchewan the following week gets easier because Saskatchewan's probably playing less starters.
So
would you agree with that?
I mean, Saskatchewan still has 3 games left.
Oh, I know, but what I'm saying is that I'll put it this way: if they clinch though that West Final, I imagine that starters get pulled after that in future games and to avoid injury.
That's if they beat Toronto. You got to remember, Saskatchewan barely beat Ottawa. Saskatchewan lost to Edmonton. Listen, Toronto may not have Arbuckle next week because his arm was in a sling this week. But let me tell you, Toronto's going to go down with a fight, and they're going to play spoilers. So don't kid yourself if you see Toronto beating Saskatchewan fucking next week.
I personally don't see it. I'll put it this way. I've bet against the Argos the majority of this year, and I've gotten a lot of points in our Pick'ems pool have rewarded me for doing
I
that.
get that, but what I'm saying is, who would have thought? Okay,
Who would have thought
I
what?
didn't. I did not see. I did not have Edmonton beating Saskatchewan on my bingo card. I did not have Ottawa keeping it with.
Okay, but you have to understand that with the passing of Larry Thompson and everything that like
No,
there was some extra forces that was not a normal Edmonton beat Saskatchewan. There's a different level that game came to.
If Ottawa can almost beat Saskatchewan, you can betcha Toronto's going to come out next week pissed off.
Yeah.
And they're going to play spoilers for their last 2 games.
Probably, yeah.
But
anyways, though, is there anything else we got? I think we've pretty much covered all this.
Not for me.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. Make sure you guys leave a like, share the video around, and subscribe. And also, on Monday and Tuesday, we're recording our 2 player interviews, one with Hakeem Harris, receiver for the Montreal Alouettes, and one with Lorenzo Burns, defensive back for the Montreal Alouettes. Those will be posted the dates following their filming. So our Monday filming with Hakeem Harris will be posted on Tuesday, and our Tuesday filming with Lorenzo Burns will go up live on Wednesday. So make sure you guys check those out. If you guys have any questions for them, leave them in either the comment section down below here or on any of our social media, primarily on Instagram, but also on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And then we also have a community post here on YouTube. So make sure you guys do that. So peace, love, and positivity, all you wonderful people at home. We will see you guys next time.